Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Selinsky, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today, we have an extraordinary guest joining us. She's a true embodiment of athletic excellence representing her nation on the world stage. Get ready to hear about Olympic athlete Priscilla Frederick. Priscilla's journey is nothing short of remarkable. She has reached incredible heights in her discipline of high jump, captivating audiences with her graceful and power leaps. Her dedication and talent and unwavering spirit have propelled her to compete alongside the best athletes in the world at the Olympic Games, the Pan American Games, and numerous other prestigious events. But there's more to Priscilla's story than her incredible athletic achievements. She's also a role model, a trailblazer who inspires others through her commitment to community work and her passion for uplifting those around her. Today, we'll dive deep into her journey, exploring the triumphs, the challenges, and the invaluable lessons she's learned along the way. So grab your favorite glass of wine, sit back, sit back, and get ready to be inspired. Let's raise a toast to the incredible Priscilla as we embark on this fascinating conversation about her life as an Olympic athlete, determination, and the boundless possibilities that lie ahead. Well, welcome. Thank you.
Hey,
cheers.
Hey, girl. Hey, cheers. Yes. I had to bust open a brand new bottle, so I'm super excited.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm excited for this. To start off each episode, we have our wine, and win of the week segment. This is where we share our favorite bottle of wine or drink, vent about something that has been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So what is your wine, W-I-N-E, of the week?
So my wine of the week, which is the good stuff, is a brand new wine that I was introduced to, and it's locally made in New Jersey, and it is from Auburn Road Vineyards. Okay. And I was gifted this after a speaking engagement, and it's been sitting here for like a special occasion. So I just popped it open. I'm super excited. And there's like spirit animals on it. Ooh. So mine is like the lioness. Ooh. And I'm super excited. It's like a table red, and it has pride, patience, and confidence. And so it says our spirit animal is a metaphor for the energy and consciousness within ourselves that, if heeded, guides us through the journey of life. And so, ooh, girl, you don't got to tell me twice. If there is a motivation to drink a bottle of wine, you just got to put an affirmation on it, and I'm good to go. So, oh my God, shout out to Auburn Road Vineyards.
Yeah. I think my one girlfriend that was on a couple weeks ago, she brought their rosé on the yeah. So that's funny. Yeah. So I was like, wait, I know that vineyard.
That's awesome. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Pinot Grigio, One Hope Pinot Grigio. One of one of my Instagram followers who's local to Bucks County. I was doing a breast cancer campaign, and One Hope donates like a percentage of their profits to breast cancer. I think it's 10%. And it's Pinot Grigio.
Yes, I love it. I'm telling you, good cause, affirmation. Like wine is becoming such a level of excellence. I love it.
I love it. So what's your WHINE of the week?
I will say that I don't want to be too much of a downer. It was one of those things where an Olympic athlete, an Olympic gold medalist, unfortunately passed away, and her autopsy came out, and she died because of birth complications. And it was something that really kind of touched my life because, obviously I was an Olympic athlete, and I've, been battling whether to have kids or not. And when I mentioned it to a friend of mine who was older, he completely dismissed it before this article came out. He was just like, you're being ridiculous. That's not true. You'll be fine. That's all. It was such a kick in the ass, right? Like, you're just like, really? Like, you can't, and it just made me feel not validated, right? So this story coming out just made it so much more aware of how miseducated people are. And I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer. I didn't want to, but her story deserves to be told. Her face needs to be out there. And for people to understand that it is scary to be a Black woman having a child. And it's one of the reasons why I won't have a child.
And much higher risk for Black women than
Yes.
for any other.
Yeah.
You know,
And I don't know, again, I haven't unfortunately done the research to understand why.
yeah,
I know that there's like this different representation in hospitals and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't make sense, right? Like
no,
women have been we're the natural child bearers, right? Like we give birth to life,
right.
and you're just not, I don't understand it. So, putting my life on hold for track and field, and wanting to have children, which I've never said I've wanted to have children, but the fear has outweighed the actual desire to have children. So that's kind of my whine.
Yeah, and I've seen that, all over today, and it is so scary. Both times I had scheduled C-sections with my kids, and so I don't know if that's like scarier or not than like just having, but knowing that I was going in for like surgery, that it was totally like you go in and you're like, what if I die
Right?
while this happens? Like I don't, I'm very lucky I'm still alive, but that
And you have
story,
2 beautiful children, 2 babies.
But the story really did bring up like a lot of my feelings that I was having this time last year, where it's like, you just don't know, and it is very scary. And I just feel so terrible.
Yeah, and it's for her to die. Unfortunately, to pass away the way that she did. It was, and I know she was struggling with mental health stuff, but maybe it's just all these kinds of things and all these feelings that it brings up, and so, so that's my why.
And so to go to a positive note, what is your win of the week?
My win of the week is I finally signed my contract and did everything for my upcoming partnership with a company called Dutch and Deckel, which if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should, and you should definitely find it out because it's been all over and I've been promoting it so much, but it's literally just an expression of me. It's a representation of my purpose and my passion. And so to have like my little notebooks coming out and my journals coming out, and especially at a time where I leave tomorrow to speak at the Play Like a Champion conference, a national conference at Notre Dame, and to have these and be able to give it to people and give them like an extension of me. It's everything that I've wanted, but it came from so many trials and errors and failures and obstacles. And to now finally at 34, be a quote unquote influencer, but in such a positive and in my terms, and working with a woman CEO, like it's just it's a bigger than a win. It is such an accomplishment because more, of course, women of color and just women in general need to come together and build each other up. And that's what we're trying to do. So this is the start of something really beautiful. And so it's a major, major, major win for me.
Yeah, I saw that. And June 20th, is that the date that
June 20th is the live launch. And I'll be going live with them and kind of going over what the partnership looks like and what the line is going to look like. And it is Priscilla Loomis by Dutch and Deckel. And it came organically, this partnership, and having just the meetings and the conversations and these talks about what I stand for and to be heard and to be seen, unlike my wine of the week, right? So it was something that's really beautiful, and I'm very, very excited to launch and be a part of.
That's awesome. So I always ask my guests, before we get into the main, what are 2 to 3 struggles you've overcome leading to where you are, and what are 3 things you're most proud of in your life?
So I will say the 3 struggles are really, it's kind of off the bat, and I've been dealing with for so long, is colorism, sexism, and racism. And it rolls right off the tongue because in every step of my life, in every chapter, and I'm a movie major, so in every sequel or a new movie of my life, it's the same 3 things. And for those of you who don't know what colorism is, it means that you are devalued the darker your skin tone is, right? Okay. And right now the sun is just glowing in my window, so I'm looking a little bright, but it is one of those things where I have been devalued because of my darker skin. And then dealing with sexism and racism from my own community, it's one of those things that unfortunately happens, but fortunately, I created a narrative that was going to help me. And
Mhm.
so when we flip that script and we say some triumphs that I've had is just, I've created a narrative for myself of of turning obstacles into opportunities, two, using that to create my own company and become a badass entrepreneur,
Heck
and
yeah.
three, to use these rings as a representation and to open up doors for girls that look like me and for girls in general, right? So
Right.
we can
Yeah.
talk about women of color, but we can also just talk about women and
Yeah.
how far behind we keep. It just seems to, the narrative keeps coming and keep pushing. So I found my passion and my purpose through sexism, racism, and colorism, right? And so for me, I'm changing that narrative. I've changed my mindset, and I'm turning everything and putting all of that energy into literally being an example of being a badass warrior for other women to lead a life of excellence in their lives.
And you do such an amazing job of it. I love that. Like
Thank
all
you.
of your posts are just so inspiring. Like you are. I love a good, like, girl power, to sound cliche,
Yeah.
but you can just tell, like, you're such a hard worker. You obviously have so much passion, like you said, and you are changing many lives with like the speakings that you're doing and just getting the conversation started on things that you want to break the boundaries of getting past these,
Yeah.
and pave
And I
the
think
road
it's,
for women behind you.
no, and I think that's my motto in life has ever since I heard the saying, and of course I heard it on a Netflix movie. It's, to be the rising tide that lifts all ships. And I realize it's most important, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
about my name. Like but what can I do with my voice, with my power, with my story to elevate other people of color and women, right? And so what's my impact, what am I leaving behind? And so it is important, and I do live this lifestyle, and it's helped me so that all of my social media, my website, everything speaks to that same message, because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know who's going to follow you. You don't know what a person needs in that moment to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to come across my page, I'm going to give you excellence. I'm going to give you my heart. I'm going to give you love. I'm going to show you so much passion, because that's what's needed. And
Right.
if I can make you happy and I can raise your spirits, then who knows who you can impact, right?
Right.
So I do live this life. I am a very naturally happy, positive, loving life, love the journey, good and bad kind of person.
That's amazing. I love that. I just love, yes. So before we get into your Olympic career,
Mm-hmm.
again, so, how do you stay active now? What's your favorite way to stay active?
Oh, girl. So I retired in 2021,
Right.
and I think a lot of people expected me to jump right back in and, have 1 or 2 days and be like, oh my God, I miss it. It's like a drug.
Mhm.
Girl, I'm tired. I am so tired, right?
You put a lot of time and
So,
effort.
yeah, I put so much time into this, and it wasn't my first love. So it wasn't like something that was removed from my life that I'm like, I need it. It's everything to me. Um, so I am right now doing everything and anything. I am now a bartender, which is kicking my ass.
Yeah, it does.
Girl,
It really, yeah.
it
So you're down in Wildwood
I'm in
for,
Wildwood,
right?
New Jersey.
Yeah. And so
Yes.
I don't know if you know, but I used to work in Sea Isle. I used to bartend
W-
and serve at the poorhouse,
Where?
next to the OD. Yeah.
I love that. We're going to the OD soon. So
But
that's
yeah,
so crazy.
yeah, for 14
But isn't
summers I
it?
did. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
It's insane.
it is insane when you're taking over 10 to 20,000 steps
Oh
in
yeah.
5 to 6 hours,
Yeah.
and like changing kegs and carrying cases and squatting down. Like it's
Yeah.
a workout, I will say. So if anybody would like a side hustle and a workout, become a bartender.
Yeah.
So I do that, and I do that 4 nights a week.
That's
But
awesome.
I'm just experimenting with different things. So I've tried surfing since retirement. I'm getting really into pickleball.
Oh, you got, yeah,
I'm gonna.
pickleball's big.
It's huge, right? And so I have my, we're getting a bike and all this kind of stuff. So it's literally just being able to be kind of like a cross athlete. What do they call it? Like
Yeah, like not multi athlete, but oh my
cross,
gosh.
not CrossFit, but like I'm trying different things. Anything
Yeah.
that I like. I mean, I have a climber in my house, and it's like a stationary. Like it looks like you're climbing, like you're moving, just like you're climbing a mountain.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that, which was great. If I'm feeling I'm not going to the gym, I'm gonna put my hair up in a bun and leave me alone. So that's great for when I want to stay home. I am gonna have to get into some sort of yoga, but I'm thinking Pilates because I need to keep that strength. And then I'll, of course, I'm going to get back into weightlifting because I actually do miss the weight room. That's one area that I do. So I'm open to everything and anything sports related. I think it's fun to see what your body can do and to keep it active and test out different muscles that you didn't know that you had. Right. So, but yeah, 100%. And I still eat pretty healthy for the most part, but I will still, have my Wednesday wings or, cheeseburgers or, nachos with, guilt free. Right. But if I can make a healthy decision, I absolutely will.
And how do you stay motivated to maintain like your fitness routine? I know, especially with bartending, it's like so hard. I remember being like, you're waking up in the mornings, you're out so late, and then you're like, I just don't want to do anything because I have another shift.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say is it's everything that I do speak about and I really do live by it. And maybe it sounds cliche and corny, but I take this Olympic mindset into everything that I do because it's just programmed into me. It's just how I've lived my life for the first, 33 years of my life. And I know how hard it is to get back into shape.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You get 4 to 5 weeks off maybe in your off season. Girl, coming back is like nothing else. Everything hurts. So I'd rather just kind of stay in a little bit of emotion rather than just fall off. And I don't want to buy new clothes. I'm very happy with the clothes that I have. Mm-hmm. So if I can't button my jeans one day, I'm going to be like, oh, damn it. Like, it's, one of those things. So these are all tricks of the trade that I'm just like, let me just stay a little bit active to keep that going. So I don't harm myself a little bit more. Yeah.
So what struggles do you have with it? Your mindset obviously is there. You look at someone with your athletic ability and it's like, oh, they don't have any struggles with being healthy and fit. Like just,
It's because I don't have a challenge ahead of me. I don't have a test.
There you go.
I used to get tested weekly, right? Mm-hmm. In whether it's a track meet or in the weight room or a coach testing me, my time. Now it's all on me.
Right.
And
that intrinsic motivation.
Right, like when you have, Taco Tuesday or, Girls Night Thursday, or in Wildwood, we have all kinds of great deals on the weeknights and stuff. And you have that opportunity to relax and chill. It is, it can get kind of like, oh, this is kind of comfortable. This is nice. Right. But it's also the struggle that I have is that, and it's an outward, not narcissistic, fake kind of. I am so worried about other people being like, look at her, let herself go.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough. And I mean, you deserve to, if you want to let yourself go, let yourself go. But that's probably really tough to have had such like a high expectation and then
and then for other people to see it and then for me to see it. Right. Because I know like how I want to look, and I've wanted to get thick for a very long time, trying to be a thick woman out here in the streets. But it's one of those things where it is an outward pressure. even in my business, and what I was going to do after track, it's, well, what is she doing now that she's not an Olympic athlete? And that was one of my fears. So for me, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying it. And I do live by this. I'm not saying I don't struggle. I'm not saying that I don't have moments of, of a downward spiral, but I have to maintain, I have one life to live. And I have to maintain a mindset. It's disrespectful for me to think less of myself. If I don't want to go for a run, I don't want to go for a run. If I want to go for a run, then I'm going to go out and run. If I want to wear booty shorts and I've gained 10 pounds and that's what I want to do. I am on this journey. And as I get older, as you know, you start to not give a damn about what other people say. So the more and more that I get older, as days pass by, I genuinely am like, okay, so if I gain weight, I gain weight. If I don't work out, I don't work out. I don't give a shit about you. Like, you know what I mean? So I do live by the words that I preach, even though sometimes there are moments of like, do I care? Do I really want that, that outward approval from other people? And then it's like that moment where, every little corny saying is like, straighten your crown, queen. I'm like, you know what? Yes, let me straighten my crown. Let me remind myself. I don't really care.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, it's so true. You're absolutely right.
Because that's where all the pressure comes from, right? Like other people, like what are they going to think?
Yeah.
Who the hell cares?
I know. And it is, as you get old, it is so true. Like, I feel like in my 20s, I was so concerned, and that, you look back and you're like, wow, why did I care about what these, even like I was saying, when you see like younger, like teenage boys or like preteen boys, and I was like, man, I can't believe I cared about their opinion because I'm a high school teacher.
What they thought? Those little bastards. Why did I care about what they thought? Like, it's the funniest thing. I look at these boys now and I'm like, wasting my damn time.
Teaching. I'm like, geez, I was so much better than this.
And you feel so bad for the girls now. Yeah. I'm like, come on, boo, raise your standards. You got this. But I'm like, it's all part of the journey. Everybody's got.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to learn their own way. But yeah, so I mean, it has been a journey. But I do give myself kindness in that retrospect because I deserve it. And I think when I constantly tell myself it's disrespectful to me to think less of me, it puts things in perspective a bit more.
What is something that, besides the opinions of teenage boys, that you wish you learned earlier about your fitness and nutritional health?
That it's my journey and my journey alone. And it's really about being as selfish as you possibly can be. And I speak very open about being selfish because so many people think of it as a negative thing. And I spent my entire track and field career being selfish, and it only worked out in my favor. So I think we need to reevaluate that word. I was bullied for being too skinny and, the way that my body looked. And then I was criticized for being too heavy to be a high jumper and being told that to my face by random strangers, by coaches, and so I think it just really does go back to what was instilled into me as a younger person by a single mother who was not from this country. When you're in the 80s, 90s, self-love wasn't a thing. It was put your makeup on, look good for other people, for their approval. And that's what my mom instilled in me. She wouldn't let me leave the house without, makeup on, and she wouldn't throw out the garbage without a full face of makeup. She would never want to be seen without makeup. And for me, seeing that and hearing that, I put my stock of my value into other people. And so one thing I would definitely tell myself is that I'm a badass bitch all by myself, exactly how I'm made, and you should be proud of who you are, where you are, what you look like. Your nutrition is more than what you're putting in your mouth, right? Like we ate very healthy growing up, which was great, but it's also your genes. I can't control what my genes are. I can't, when people look at me now, they're like, oh my God, how are you eating what you want, and not working out as much? I'm like, because my genes, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, why are you getting, like, this is just this is how my body was made. My metabolism is faster, obviously, so for me, it's really just, and anybody listening at any age where you are right now, just truly love exactly how you look and make sure that the things that you are intaking visually, spiritually, mentally, are good and healthy for you. And you're cutting out artificial sugar as much as possible. And that's unfollowing people on Instagram. That's listening to music that makes you feel good. That's watching shows that make you feel empowered and great. And that's what nutrition and health and wellness mean to me now. It's not just going to the gym. It's what I'm ingesting, quote unquote, on my couch.
And I
in
think
the
a
car.
lot of people don't connect that. That is such a great point. And that's, I just don't think, like, people think, oh, if I go to the gym for 30 minutes and I eat a salad for lunch, like, I'm done. And it's
a lifestyle.
Right. Like, we're
it really is.
Yeah. And we're constantly being, with TV and our phones and the internet and who you are following on Instagram, it's like you're constantly being putting these thoughts
you're
into your head
ingesting so much at a rapid rate, and it distracts you from yourself. And so, like, I remember people always asking me if I watched Game of Thrones or I've watched, Breaking Bad, or I've watched, all these shows. And I'm like, they're probably, they obviously won all those awards for a reason. They're probably wonderful.
Right.
It disrupts my spirit. That's why I don't watch reality television shows. It disrupts who I am. Now, my guilty pleasure, if I'm sitting at home, I'm watching Kim Possible.
I love it. She's very positive,
right? But like that, I can mindlessly, or Friends, or Will and Grace.
Mindly,
it's
Will and Grace. Yeah.
Oh my, we're watching it right now. I'm watching it for the first time, and
oh my gosh, first time! Oh my gosh, I've watched it so many times.
When you're growing up, it was like episodes here and there because your parents were watching it. So, but now we're watching it because my husband and I was a television and film major, so this is how he processes things. He wants start to finish. So we watched Cheers. We watched Frasier. Like, we're just gonna go, and we just watched that 70s show, which was amazing. So that's what allows me to feel okay. Yeah. Right? I can't listen to a murder podcast.
I can.
But you know what I mean? Like, but that's it. Everybody is different. But if it doesn't disrupt, like, Vanderpump Rules, right?
Right.
That, me neither. And people are like, you gotta watch it. It's so good. It's on the same level with the Kardashians.
Yeah.
What is it doing to my spirit? What is it doing? You can have a guilty pleasure that's like fine, like whatever you want to do, but you also have to keep in check how you're processing it, right? Like, you know what I mean? So I know every single time I watch one of the Netflix Christmas movies, I'm always like, man, my husband didn't do that for me. He didn't bring me flowers. He didn't do nothing. Like, and you don't even realize it, right? But like, I want to make sure that everything that I'm ingesting in my relationships, it's pouring into my cup, right? And I only have a limited time, energy, passion. And so what I'm filling into that needs to make me feel better. And I am not putting out anybody or putting down anybody that watches the reality shows and the Gossip Girls and the Real Housewives. Do you, boo-boo? Yeah. But make sure that you're spending also time, things that just are lighthearted and make you feel good. That's the most important part.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like I'm like such an outsider because I don't watch any of like the Real Housewives or I'm like, I guess do I not fit in with women? I don't
I don't.
understand.
I know
I
I
don't,
don't. And
yeah,
I've
like,
realized that.
it's okay.
Sam, girl, trust and believe. I have realized that I'm always a disruptor. No matter where I go, my presence, who I am disrupts people, right? My character disrupts a lot of titles, right? I know that about me. But for women, it's it's they think that I'm either better than them or I'm trying to put them down. And if you really knew who I was, I just want women to feel so good about themselves. And when you watch these shows and these women are allowing people like Andy Cohen to put them down and other men to cheat on them and they're sticking around, I want more for you, Queen. I just want more for you. So for me, you're right. I don't fit in. I'm sorry. I'm at home watching Phineas and Ferb or Hey Arnold or Kim
Oh my
Possible. Lizzie
gosh.
McGuire was the best, right? Like
Yeah.
these are the kinds of things. So I do not fit in. I realize that, but I also know
All
that
right.
about
But you
myself, right?
stand out. That's great. Why? What is it? Why fit in when you were born to stand out? That's what the
Oh,
saying is, I
girl,
think.
I was born to be way out there.
So you talked about your husband. How long have you guys been
Yeah.
married for?
So this August will be 4 years.
Nice. Congrats. And how'd you guys meet?
Thank you. So one of the, like literally my favorite thing to talk about is my husband. Because I prayed so long for a good relationship because I come from a family of divorce, right? And
Okay.
single parents and all kind of stuff. So my husband and I actually met in high school.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we did not speak to each other. We probably said 4 words to each other. He was extremely popular.
Okay.
Star football player, star baseball player, dated the head cheerleader, the whole thing. And I was a play door and we just didn't ever talk. So then we re-met as we were coaching at our alma mater, Paul VI High School in Haddonfield,
Okay.
New Jersey.
Yeah. Well,
And we started coaching together and we went for a drink every so often. Him, my boyfriend at the time, and him, we all hung out many times. And it wasn't until my boyfriend and I had separated, and he lived in Wildwood, and I was like, you know what? Never been. I'll go. They say it's a good time, right? I'm single.
Fun.
I just need him to protect me, not get. I can't get roofied. Please make sure I get home safely. And we've been together ever since that one night.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that. And Wildwood is so fun. What is like the On the Way to Cape May, like that song,
Yes.
with like the I forget the Wildwood word part though. Oh well.
Oh my gosh, I know. I haven't heard that song in years. That's crazy.
We have
engaged. Those Wildwood days. That's all the
time. Yeah. We got engaged in Cape May, so we have actually like a little like we have a sign with like postcards from each of the shore towns with that song, like On the Way to Cape May. I fell in love, and then but I'm like I can't. It's in my living room. I look at it every day.
That is so awesome. When did you get engaged?
We got engaged in 2012. We were just married for 9 years in April, so I think.
Yay!
So yeah. So.
Congratulations.
But the whole shore area is.
My
aunt and uncle have a house in West Wildwood. That's right on
cool.
The channel there, which is really
yes.
Nice. So nice
there. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do with your husband?
Everything. Literally everything. It can be from sitting on the couch and making like a smorgasbord of cheese and crackers and pizza and pretzels and fruit. Like we just set it up in our little living room, to going out on date nights and trying new restaurants, to, we've had so many people get married in the last 2 years, so we've been each other's fun dates. And I truly did marry my best friend. He is a phenomenal human being. I've learned, we were very open in the beginning about putting out our relationship and what worked for us and what didn't. And I realized that not everybody was as happy for us. So we had to, reel it back a little bit, because this is my house. This is my relationship. I want to protect it. But everything that I do with my husband is just a great time, whether it's, him being annoyed that we're shopping at the mall, or grocery shopping. Like, we grocery shop together every single week.
Oh, I love that.
We enjoy each other's company. Yeah, he's a goofball, and he's super funny and charming and dorky, and so he's great. So I have to say it's everything, to falling asleep, to waking up, to having coffee, to Sunday brunch, and everything in between.
And you guys are doing an upcoming speaking event together, right? The Aligning.
Yes, we're excited.
Do you guys normally talk together, or is this something new, or do you do?
This is completely new, and we have a podcast together that we absolutely loved. It was called In Our Prime, but we got so busy, right? He's a football coach, and he's a bartender as well, and he's a teacher. So finding time to film, and I don't want to put too much on his plate. So we had 2 seasons, and we're going to start it up again, but now we have like a better schedule of it. We won't have as many episodes. That's it. So, but he loved it. It tapped into something that he had never really done before. So I always ask him, like, do you want to speak? And he's like, no, I'm okay. And I'm like, all right. So I was asked to speak at the Play Like a Champion National Conference at Notre Dame. And the person organizing it asked, like, I know your husband is a football coach. We're going to have a lot of coaches in the room. And he had just won Coach of the Year for his division. So we were super proud. And he worked really hard to change the culture of his team. So this is the first time that we'll be speaking together on a stage. And this is the first time the conference has ever had a married couple share a stage.
Wow.
And it means something a little bit more because we are an interracial couple, and we're an interracial marriage. And to have people see us work together, even though our cultures are very different, it's a beautiful thing, right? And so we're very excited for that. And our portion is called Aligning with Excellence. And so I come from my coaching point of view, and he's coming from his. We've coached in very different environments, and he's coached at different levels, and I've coached at different levels. And we both were athletes. So we're speaking just about what it takes to really create leadership within organizations in today's lifestyle with social media, with NIL, and making sure that you care more about the athlete than the results. And you care more about the athlete and what they're going to become and the impact that they're going to have on everyday life rather than just in their sport. But it starts with sport and how crucial it is. So we're super excited for that. And I think he's a little bit more nervous. I don't get nervous because this is like my passion. This is like everything for me. So he's like, all right. And I see him like pacing and like rehearsing words and stuff. So it's very, very cool. But awesome. I'm very excited for that.
So excited for you guys. You guys are going to do
Thank you. We're pretty hyped for it.
Great. So what's one piece of advice you would give others regarding keeping a healthy marriage?
Over communication. I can't stress it enough. I'm so sorry. I'm going to talk your ear off. I feel so bad. This is not supposed to be a long podcast, right? Like it's going to be like 3 hours.
It can be as long as you want it to be. I can make it into 2 parts, 3 parts, whatever.
That's what happened to another one I did. They were like, "We're going to make this into 2 parts." I was like, "I'm so sorry."
No.
So I come from a very passionate culture, right? So I'm Dominican and Antiguan. So I'm Caribbean by blood. Caribbeans are passionate. We use our hands. We're loud. We're over the top. My husband is not. And so we had our first, and I'm used to fighting. I love to fight. That's what I did. Arguing was the way to communicate.
Right.
And we came home one night after drinking, and I was like, I'm leaving. I'm done. This is ridiculous. And I'm shouting, and he's just standing there. And it looked like I was hurting him. And I was like, why aren't you yelling back? Like, why are you just standing there? And I could tell in that moment, my style of communication wasn't getting through to him. Mm-hmm. So I took a step back and I calmly, in that moment, literally, I was like, here's why I'm upset. Boom, 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 and boom. He literally said, I didn't mean for that. I didn't think that that's what you meant. It won't happen again. Boom. So I was like, oh, well, that's it? There's nothing else? Like, we're not going to continue fighting? Like, this is ridiculous. So it's really over communicating so that they understand that your partner understands where you're coming from and what you're trying to say. Because at the end of the day, I don't ever want to, stick a knife in and twist it, right? Like, mm-hmm. That's not what it is. I respect him too much. I love him too much. I want good things. So it's really effective communication when I say over communication, over effective communication.
And I forget where I heard something somewhere. It might have been me listening to a podcast. And it was saying when we get mad and we're taking out we want that other person to feel our anger rather than we're not concerned about communicating. We're really concerned about them feeling the way we are. And I felt like that was something for me. Similarly, I would kind of I guess be on the attack or the defense all the time. And my husband's it doesn't have to be that way. We can just you could just tell me what's wrong and then I can respond to it.
Yes.
And then we can move forward.
And men are logical like that. I'm like, I don't want to move forward. I don't want to move forward in this. I need this moment. I need aggressive. I need things. And it's very, very true. When you break it down, it's true. We probably do just want people to see our emotion and feel what we're feeling, but I don't think they will. So
all right. Well, let's get into your athletic journey. So can you share with us, how did you get involved in the high jump? Was that your main thing that you did when you were in high school? How did you get involved in that?
So I started running track when I was 6 years old. Okay. And coming from a single parent household, my mom just didn't have enough money to put me into clubs and traveling teams and all that kind of stuff. So track was the easiest thing that she could drop me off and feel like I was, being safe and I was being guided. And so, it was just out of convenience at first. And then, of course, coaches are like, you're really great. Your daughter's really good. Let's do more. And it started with the long distance. And I was like, I swear, if you make me run one more mile or 800, I'm quitting. I will walk away. My mom was like, nope, I'm forcing you to do it. And it was finally a family meeting. And they were like, let her do what she wants to do. She's still going to run track, but she just doesn't want to do distance. It's okay. She was like, all these coaches think she's going to be great in the 8 and blah, blah, blah. So without her happiness, she let me do what I wanted to do. And so when I got to high school, I did all the events. I was a multi-eventer, and I did the shot put and the high jump and the long jump and the 400 and the 400 hurdles and the 100 hurdles. And it was cool. It was great. My passion is entertainment. I've always wanted to be Beyonce. I love entertaining people. I love making people happy and making them feel something more powerful about their lives. And my mom said, use track as a way to make that possible and make that happen. So I took on track, and I realized that it could lead to bigger things. And, once I started, getting into the high jump, which again was just, hey, there's a girl on the team who needs a partner to do this meet. Can you do it? Sure, absolutely. And do you remember those old flip books that would have pictures on each page and it would be a moving picture? That's how I was taught how to high jump. And and so once I figured it out, I just kept getting better. But my heart wasn't in it because I was in plays and I wanted to be on Broadway and that whole thing. So my senior year, it comes to college time, and I go meet with my guidance counselor. And throughout this whole period, I was dealing with never fitting in fully. I was never Black enough. I was never Hispanic enough. I was never enough for anybody. My personality didn't match anybody else's, right? I was bullied for being skinny. I was bullied for dating a white kid. I was bullied for my hair, like everything, right? And I started doing pageants, and then being told that I wasn't good enough, and then I cut my hair, and being told I wasn't, I'm not pretty with short hair, all this kind of stuff. And it's a whole journey. So I get to my guidance counselor, and I was like, I'm going to go to college, but I'll probably, if there's an option to just be a struggling actress, and wait tables and then get my big break, I'll do that. And my coach found out, told my mom, like, no, we need to get her into school. She can actually do things. So I was like, I'm not paying for college, so I'm not about to be in debt before I even step on campus. So I said academic, or right, like it was. I mean, I was logical.
Yeah,
as logical as I possibly could be. And he literally said to me, "You're not good enough to get an academic or athletic scholarship." And I knew that my grades were okay, like nothing crazy, but I knew that I wasn't giving track and field 100% of my time. I wasn't even making all the practices. And I knew I didn't want my mom to struggle. So I went and I asked them what the standards were for colleges and what they're looking for. And at that time, I was, probably top 20, top 30 in the state. And that following weekend, it was the night after prom, was counties. And I won. And I set my school record. And it was kind of just like a decision. And it was the first time that somebody had truly doubted me to my face. And it was a grown up who was supposed to be guiding me, literally telling me that I'm not good enough. And that's when I fell in love with pressure and people doubting me and proving them wrong, because it was the best feeling in the world. So I went on to sectionals, and I won sectionals, went on to state, became a state champion, went on to meet a champs, and became literally the champion of the state. And colleges came up to me, and the only place I wanted to be was New York City. So St. John's came knocking, and I said, "Where are you?" They said, "New York." I said, "I'll sign. Let's do it." He was like, "You don't want to see the campus?" I was like, "No, you're in New York City. I don't care about anything else." So that's kind of how it happened. And that's why I'm a product of failure and, tribulations, because I just changed the narrative.
Yeah.
And so that's how it all kind of happened. And going to college, I was, kind of like a big fish in a smaller pond. And I, just kept at it. I had a pretty good balance, but I was number one on the team, became MVP. I just kept pushing, and people kept on putting this narrative of the Olympics. And I was like, I don't know, man, like I'm not number one anymore, right? Like when you go to college, you're not number one.
Yeah.
But I was still making waves. I was still doing well. And I stayed focused, and I realized, and it was my teammates who helped me with that as well, when they fell short or they weren't working as hard. I was winning and doing well, and I got perks for that, right? I got bigger per diem. I would go to the equipment room and be like, "Can I have extra socks?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Oh, it's great." So I was jumping for the perks for a while. I graduated. I went to the 2012 Olympic trials. Was supposed to get dead last, 35 or 34 out of 34. Came in 7th.
Wow.
In the United States, and found out that the U.S. saw no value in me. They didn't think I was going to be good enough. So I took a year off because I had to move back home. Like I was like, I'm not signed. What am I supposed to do? And realized that I hated working. It was not for me. And realized that I had dual citizenship to either Dominican Republic or Antigua and Barbuda. And because my relationship with my father was so strained, I realized I wanted to get to know that side of me. When people see me, they think I'm Black. So they think I'm just Black. So I said, all right, let me get to know where my father comes from, maybe why he, left me and abandoned me. And And I found out the population of the island, and that there was so much culture and history, and nobody really was, putting Antigua and Barbuda on the map, and people didn't even know how to say the right name.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put respect on the country's name. I wanted to put respect on my name. I wanted to put the entire island on my shoulders and lift them up. And so in 2014, I became a professional athlete representing the country of Antigua and Barbuda, and just started traveling the world, proving them wrong, dealing with sexism, a huge thing on the island, not being valued, pushing through, finding my voice, finding my personality, finally medaling internationally, having a really great time, going to the 2016 Olympics, having an Olympic hangover that following year. And it kind of just all kind of led to my next Olympics, which is when I was going to retire anyway. And yeah, that's the journey.
So did you like, this is a dumb question, but did you have
No,
to
it's
move?
not.
Like, did you have to move there, or
No.
like, how did that work for competition?
So getting dual citizenship is different for every country, but it depends on who you're related to from the country. So my father and my mother were both born in Dominican Republic and Antigua and Barbuda. So my father was born in Antigua and moved here when he was 16. So I had like that first generation, like I'm one removed. So in order to get it, I had to get a letter from somebody on the island who knew me, knew my father. They had to get his baptism, like a receipt. Like, it took a while. It took a very long time. It took about 10 months to get it. But now I hold a passport, and I am a dual citizen. A lot of islanders do train in the U.S. And they go to school in the U.S. So it's not uncommon. I trained over here because they didn't have a track. Like, they didn't have a good track. So I couldn't train on that, or I would, wasn't going to be healthy or safe for me. So, so we would go back every year for nationals, and nationals was how they would put you up and say, you can travel here, you can travel here. They would also go based off the world rankings and everything. So, but yeah, I didn't have to live there, but I did go back a few times. I became, the 2-time female athlete of the year, which was incredible. And my husband and I just decided that that's where we're going, because we never got to go on our honeymoon. That's where we're going for our honeymoon next summer.
That's amazing.
Wow, yeah.
That's such a cool, just like, again, proving people wrong. Like, you proved the U.S. wrong. You're like, I'm going to the Olympics. I'm going to find another way. And this is my way. And that's such, a good mindset for anybody to have. But
and the goal wasn't really go to the Olympics. The goal was to be as good as you can possibly be. Exhaust every resource to see how far you can go, to see how high you can rise. It probably wasn't until 2 years before the Olympics that I was like, all right, all eyes are on Rio. I didn't make it in 2012, and I sat on my couch and watching the opening ceremonies. I told a friend of mine, Jose, I was like, I will never sit on this couch again while training and watch the opening ceremonies, because I knew I had more to give. So rather than look at just the Olympics, I was like, I want to see how great I can be each year. And that's kind of how it happened.
That's awesome. So how has your experience as an Olympic athlete shaped like your perspective on sports in general and competition, besides just never giving up?
I think it's made me a lot more thicker skinned. It helped me with negativity, self-doubt. It also helped me realize how far I can push myself. So I learned so much in sport, from having white male coaches to having black female coaches to having sexism, racism, and colorism, to having people doubt me, to not making certain meets, to losing, to like the journey taught me so much that I now I'm so glad that I went through, because now I'm able to take it like a G, right? Like there's going to be shit thrown in my face all the time, but I can take it. And how is it going to affect me? How am I going to rise from this occasion? How am I going to get better? Sport teaches so much that I think it should be mandatory for every person at a younger age.
Yeah.
At a younger age, I also think that every young person in high school should have to work in the restaurant business.
I agree with that.
Right?
I think every person needs to work in the restaurant business.
Right? Like, I think it's just something. So sport taught me confidence, resilience, tenacity, self-love, positivity, quitting toxic relationships. Like, it literally taught me everything, because throughout that journey, it was the longest relationship that I ever had.
So true.
And you grow through it. Like, I was 6 years old and I retired when I was 32.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was a different person at every stage of the game, right?
Right. And that's I'm a high school health and phys ed teacher, so obviously my undergrad is that, but my master's I ended up getting in athletic coaching, specifically because like I don't want to be a principal or anything like that. I'm like, okay, I want to get my master's, but let me do it in something that I'm doing. And even though I had been involved in obviously athletics for my entire life as well, like learning more about the coaching perspective and like how really shapes, especially females, like with self-confidence. Like I knew it, but reading about it and understanding about it and just like all of the positive things that come from especially women in sports and learning.
Yeah.
And that's even like, to kind of go on a little bit of a tangent, like how I work with my marriage. Like I've always been a teammate, and like my husband is my teammate. Like we're on the same team. We're not playing against each other. Like, and that's just how my whole outlook on life is. And I think you're so right. Like everyone should, I mean, I'm such an advocate for that. Like,
yeah,
I teach Burlington City is like a smaller school. And for male athletes, it's like very good, a great program for a lot of different sports. But like the girls they take on more of a role of like, a lot of them are working after school, and their responsibilities are like taking care of the younger kids. And so being a coach, I was a middle school field hockey and high school basketball coach for 10 years before I had kids.
Wow.
And like I would just from class pick kids, like come to practice today. Like I think you would do so well. And just like some of the stories of like the way that kids have come back and said things, I'm like, it's like a safe space for everyone.
Yeah.
And build their, just like you said, everything for them. So
it is. And that's the importance, and sport is vital for growth, to learn. And like you said, that's the biggest thing. And that's why it was so important for me when I coached, was to have that kind of marriage in sport and in regular life, for them to understand that I could give two shits about if you win this meet or not, but how are you handling yourself? How are you prepping for the meet? Did you, take responsibility in yourself? Did you eat right? Like, did you care? That's what means more to me. And then when you do that preparation work, it'll all show on the track. Right. So I think sport has had a profound impact in my life. And obviously now, as what I'm doing, it's opened so many doors for me. And obviously, like, I cried every day at the Olympics because of what I went through. But it's now I can talk about it and be able to share a narrative of, turning those obstacles into these incredible opportunities.
Yeah, I love. And so, like, with all of the mindset and like preparation, how do you handle the pressure in competing like at the highest level of an international event? I mean, that just has to be so, or is it like, I don't know, from me
for me, I will tell you, I didn't get nervous. I was so prepped and ready to compete that nothing made me It didn't make me nervous. I was just excited. I just wanted to kick ass. I wanted the world to see me. It was my element. I wanted a stage,
It was your
and
play, your
it
Broadway
was,
play.
yes, 100%. It absolutely was. And I had full control over what my narrative was. And I got to, wear my lilac hair and wear my makeup and just be me. The hardest part for me was other people comparing me to others, which then entered my brain. And I was like, well, I need to be skinnier. I need to be leaner. That was the kind of stuff that, I wasn't prepared for. But in terms of competing at a very elite level, I was so ready. I loved it. It was great. I was so happy to do it.
Specific routines or rituals? Like, I know, like, some people before they go out to their event, they have, like, tap 3 times or something like that.
I didn't have it as much as I thought I would. Like, and that was the other thing, right? Like, so when you're talking to other people and you're listening to things, they're like, I have this routine and this is exactly what I do. It was always my makeup. My makeup and dancing was my thing. It was my 30 to 40 minutes of just me, myself, doing my hair, doing my makeup, listening to Ariana Grande and Beyonce and Britney and Christina and all these legend powerhouses, women, right? And just being in my element and realizing that I had to just get in the right frame of mind. And any kind of butterfly or nervousness that I got, it was more excitement. And this was my domain, and I was ready to go. But those are the 2 things that I always did: my makeup and listening to music. Same thing that I did on my wedding day.
That's amazing. It's no different. Getting married, being an Olympic athlete, like, it's the same. Perfectly.
Same thing, guys.
How about with your support system going to the Olympics? Like, did you reconnect with your dad at all through the process of you being an Olympic?
I did.
You did?
I did a little bit. The process of going to the Olympics was awesome, right? Everybody supports you, but nobody really is in tune until you do it and you make it. So it wasn't until that happened that I really felt major support. People knew that I was training. They knew what I was doing. They saw me traveling the world and doing cool things. But I think the biggest shocker, because again, I was engaged in 2014, broke off the engagement, started dating my coach, who was phenomenal, by the way. I have to give him a shout out. And, and then, making the Olympics and then feeling so alone. Cause it's over. It's done. Did you win a medal? No. Oh, okay. I guess that's it. That's it. So it was a roller coaster. I will tell you that.
I'm sure that is such like a weird, it's, when you're sitting on your TV and you're watching when you are like swimming is like my big thing that I watch. And it's
cool.
People are like, oh, I could be faster than that. It's like, really? If you put there, it's like there should be an Olympic sport where you put the regular people on the couch against the Olympians and see how that goes, just to see how much better you guys are than regular people walking around. Your career is amazing, but as I mentioned in the beginning, you are now you have a huge involvement in your community, and you have the Priscilla E. Frederick Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, like, it's so crazy because I still get choked up about it, even though it's like on year 3, like we're literally in the year 3 of it. When I was probably right after high school, I really wanted to make a staple for my mom. I wanted to thank her for everything that she sacrificed and she went through. And my mom is my greatest gift. She is just so a warrior. She never gave up, and she literally showed up for me every single day. And I wanted to thank her. I wanted a long-lasting impact for her. So I started the Priscilla E. Frederick Foundation, which was, the name that she gave me. And we support single parent households. And that could literally look like anything and everything. So we
Right.
want to make sure that, because when my mom was, when I was younger, my mom put me through Catholic school. She worked 3 jobs to make sure that my sister and I went to Catholic school, and we both went to college. And she just needed a little bit of help. Everybody wishes that they had $1 million. Everybody.
Right.
But sometimes it's just, I wish somebody could pay my grocery bill so that I could pay my electric bill and finally be okay, like get caught up. And so that's what I want it to be for the community. I want it to be a little bit of help. And so that's what the Frederick Foundation is about. We support single parent households, and we have a single parent assistance grant. And it is on my website, PriscillaLoomis.com. And anybody throughout the year, when we run out of funds, but I will give $250. I send you a check, a personalized note, and however else I can help you. And moving forward, we are going to do one-on-one financial literacy courses so that they can hopefully not be in that same position. They can learn about their money, they can learn about their finances, and get better. Mm-hmm. So that's the single parent assistance grant. And we also give out scholarships to students coming from single parent households. And what we're doing is people that have impacted our life throughout our journey, where we meet people, we'll start different scholarships under their name. Whether it's like my mom has the Miss Eve scholarship. So it's an 8th grader in a private high school continuing in a private high school or a Catholic high school, right? And they have to do a sport. They have to have a certain GPA. We're going to have, I met a couple randomly at a bar one night, and unfortunately their granddaughter passed away from heart complications from COVID, which is the same thing that I had. So I am starting a scholarship program called Marquetta. The Marquetta's Journey scholarship. And she was very much into nature and STEM, and I want to, any girl that needs that, right? And so a dear, Antiguan teammate of mine, he recently passed away. And so I'm going to give out a scholarship under his name for those who bike, because he was a cyclist. He was a pro cyclist for Antigua and Barbuda. So it's people along the journey to keep their names alive and help out. But then we also do, women empowerment seminars and workshops. And so I just hosted my first one, and I have to give a huge shout out to Ardell and CoverGirl because they sponsored it. And I've got to thank the community of Wildwood because they showed up so incredibly. Thank you, Mud Hen. They provided lunch, and Beambo provided breakfast, and we had mentors, and we had makeup artists, and we had a yoga instructor, and it was just really excellence and lifting up these high school girls and allowing them to feel really great. And we partnered with that.
Wait, was this just recently?
Yeah, this was February. Yeah, this was February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that was the first one. That was the big one that we did. And I partnered with another nonprofit. Her name is Holly Folger, and she is an American actress. And so she started her nonprofit, and I'm literally trying to remember all the things right now. I cannot believe that she's going to kill me. I promise you. When she's going to be like, you couldn't remember the name of my,
one of our students is
True. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Sorry, no.
Go ahead.
True Beauty Discovery. I am so sorry.
I
I had a complete brain fart, but True Beauty Discovery, we partnered with them and we brought this to the community. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, one of our students was just down in Wildwood last week for a scholarship award. I forget which one it was, but she came down to Wildwood for it. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's but I didn't know if it was the same. She didn't really tell.
No, we are getting bigger and bigger, and this woman empowerment thing is really, really important because we want to make sure that we're supporting. So I'm going to have 4 times a year. We'll do an empowerment one. We just did a financial literacy one. And I'm going to open up a bank account, a savings account for each girl that they can't touch till they're 25. And every time that they do something along the lines in their life, whether it's community advocacy or any kind of support for communities and being selfless, I'll donate, I'll put money into their account.
Yeah.
And they can also do that as well. They can put money in. And that was the woman empowerment, that portion. And then, community advocacy. So if anybody reaches out and they say they need help, then that's what we'll do, right? We put on networking events for the Hispanic community. for the Black community. For Juneteenth, we are doing a dine and donate at one of the biggest restaurants on our island. There's 3 of them. And all those donations are going towards scholarships, as well as supporting one Black-owned business in Cape May County and to the Harriet Tubman Museum. So it's really just about being the change, being the rising tide, support, love, and just putting it out there. So my nonprofit is my baby. And, we've been, supporting all different kinds of people all throughout, the year. And I didn't want it to be focused on just one thing, even though we do support single parent households. We're going to open up a branch for veterans as well, because I want to be able to open that up and support in any way that we can. So it's really just being the shining light for others. That's what's most important.
I love that. That's so amazing. And that's so great to hear. And I know you do have to go in a couple minutes. So I just want to kind of wrap it up and give you like one last, what advice would you give for younger girls coming, especially girls? I mean, boys can listen, boys,
yeah,
but
of course.
Specifically girls in sports. What advice would you give them to be the best that they can be? Like,
show up for yourself the way you would show up for Taylor Swift.
Love that. That's great. That is the perfect way to end it, because lots of them showed up for the way they showed up for Taylor Swift, and that's a great analogy. Was not expecting that, but I love it.
We will end on that. I think girls don't show up for themselves enough. I think they are always trying to compare themselves, and they're coming from a place of lack, when really they need to truly love everything about themselves and show up for themselves in the most positive way. And we have seen how these girls show up for Taylor Swift. Yes. So show up for yourself the way you show up for Taylor Swift. And it really just pour into your cup excellence and love and beauty, because that's all the things that you deserve and all the things that you are.
I love that. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. I love that. Thank you so much, seriously, for coming on. I appreciate it. Your story is truly a testament to the power of perseverance, dedication, and the pursuit of excellence.
Thank you.
Your passion for the high jump and unwavering determination have really taken you to the highest levels of athletic achievement, which is amazing. So proud of you. Thank you so much for giving us your insights and your wisdom. And then, just remember to the listeners that success is not solely measured by medals, as we just heard. It's also about the impact we have on others, the mark we leave on the world, your dedication to the community work, and your commitment to inspiring the next generation of athletes really is such a shining example. So if you found, and I know you did, find this episode as inspiring as I did, make sure to follow Priscilla on her journey of all her upcoming things. And I'm going to link a lot of this stuff in the show notes. She is at Priscilla_Frederick on Instagram. Any other social media accounts that you use a lot?
Yeah, I need to get back on the TikToks. I didn't want to.
I didn't want to. Yeah.
I didn't want to. But you can always follow me on PriscillaLoomis.com. You can, and honestly, if you type in Priscilla Loomis on Google, all the things will show up. All pop up. So however you social media, besides TikTok and Twitter, I will be there for you. 100%.
Well, thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, Samantha. I'm so blessed. Thank you for your light. Thank you for your energy. I'm so proud of you for doing this and for putting these episodes out. You are a new mom, and you are crushing it, and you are showing your children exactly how powerful women are and how important mothers are. So I thank you for you. I thank you for your message, and I thank you for sharing a platform, especially for a woman of color. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. All right. I think that's it. That's how we're going to end it. That was way better words than I could ever say. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
I will let you go. I know you got to go. So, but I'll be in touch with you. So,
yes, absolutely. And whenever you come down, please come down, hang out whatever, all the things. I'm here for you. If you're ever having an event, please let me know. Yeah. I'm here to support. Yeah. So don't ever hesitate to be like, hey, can you share this? Or hey, can you come to this? Or I'm here, girl. Okay. I'm an ally.
Yeah.